So, and we are a Herrera family. We live in Panama, and we came here when I was 8 months old from Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
And during the summer, we didn't have anything to do during the thing, so we started making this book, writing a book about people that made the world a better place. We thought you were a good example and a good person to put on our book because you gave water and founded wells all around Africa just to help people. So we found that very interesting and heartwarming. So we wanted to interview you.
Oh, well, thanks for the consideration. I think at the end of the day, it was a lot of people helping. Like I was just a kid when it first started, but I guess it was nice that I was able to help some people. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to ask you a few questions. What inspired you to take action on these people not having any water in Africa?
We were really young when I first heard that there were people that didn't have clean water like I did in my home. And we were 6 and 7 years old. And my teacher had a tough time explaining to us what not having water meant. We asked my teacher questions like, why don't they just go to the tap, go to the water fountain and get water? And my teacher had to explain that not everyone had taps and water fountains. And if you didn't have it at your school, you had to go and walk a long way to go get it for your family so that they could cook and clean and drink and everything else. And we were asking our teacher questions like how far that was. And my teacher said 5 kilometers, which didn't help because we didn't know how far 5 kilometers was when we were 6 and 7. So she tried to explain it by saying 5,000 steps. And that didn't help too much either because I couldn't count to 5,000 when I was in grade 1. But I counted the steps it took me to get from my classroom to the water fountain outside, and I counted 10. And it just didn't seem fair. And, you know, when I was growing up in preschool and kindergarten, like we were taught that the classroom was like a fair place where everyone gets a chance. So to hear that there was kids my age who didn't have a chance, I think it really got to me and decided to raise my hand. And that was 23 years ago, but it ended up doing a lot of good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So about what were your first steps and how did you start in your foundation to make fun?
Well, the first thing I did, I thought I was just going to ask my parents for what I thought would build one well, which I thought would bring the entire world clean water. And I thought my parents were just going to give me the money because it's not like I wanted to buy something for myself. I thought they'd be like, oh, here you go. But that didn't exactly work that way. They ignored me and I had to convince them to give me a chance to earn it by doing work all over the house kind of thing. Vacuuming, washing windows, shoveling snow, which if you're not familiar, I guess being in Panama, it was pretty tough. But I did that for a while only to realize that the goal was bigger. So I ended up doing those kinds of chores for my neighbors and that wasn't enough. So I ended up doing little fundraisers at my school. And I think my very first fundraiser I ever did was a Pokemon card raffle. So just different kinds of things you have to do what the people around you are interested in. And then I think my classmates and other people saw what I was doing and they said, you know, if Ryan can do that, why can't I? Because I wasn't exactly a exceptional, smart, do-gooder, amazing person. I was just Ryan. So I think people took that as a challenge to say, you know, if Ryan can do this, like we can all do something. And it was able to grow to where we are today. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you didn't only inspire lots of people around the world with, making the water, but you inspired like little kids to say, "Wow, I can do this too." So they did it too.
Yeah, I think that's even the better part of it. Like the entire idea of the Ryan Swell Foundation is that you don't have to be someone special, important, rich, or powerful to make a difference. You can be a kid and have a dream because sometimes you see the world a lot better. If I tried, like I may not have had an impact when I was 6 and I raised my hand and I started fundraising, but I had that desire, and it ended up being infectious. If I was an adult trying to tackle the world's water problems, maybe I wouldn't even start, because I know how hard and complicated it was. So sometimes it takes a kid to tackle big issues like things like water, or else no one would do anything about them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the rule is just like don't think big and don't really. They think, oh, this is not possible. What made you think that is possible?
Well, first I thought that all it was going to take was one well to bring the entire world clean water. So I was naive. I didn't understand how big the problem was. So that's the first thing. And then I think the second thing was when I did find out it was going to be a lot more complicated. I remember I told who I was fundraising for, they told me that it wasn't enough money to drill a well when I came in the first time. And I said I'd just go do more chores. And I remember when my dad found out that I had said that to them, he kind of went like, oh my God, because he thought I was setting myself up for failure. And I had a really good talk with my dad. He's a police officer, and he's a really good guy. He volunteer basketball coached in my town. He was like someone who I looked up to, kind of thing. And he had a talk with me, and he said, Ryan, you did a great job. You showed perseverance and tenacity, and you didn't give up, and you should feel proud of yourself, but it's okay to stop what you're doing. And he wasn't trying to be mean or anything. He just knew he was a grown-up, and he knew how complicated the world was, and he knew that maybe I couldn't have the impact I wanted to. So there was always going to be people like that who aren't being mean, but are just, realists, who are grounded in reality, who are grown-ups. And I think I was just lucky that my passion kind of outshone that. It's not to say that you need to listen to those people sometimes when you're talking about specifics and practicality and setting goals, and there's stuff that you need to stay grounded for. But in terms of if you have a dream, a vision, or a passion, you need to, sometimes go forward and ignore all of the white noise. So I'm glad I was able to ignore my dad and listen to him sometimes. But for that time, I was glad I was able to keep going.
Yeah, and how old were you when you funded your first well?
It took around a year to fundraise. Originally it was $70 over 4 months, and then a year for $2,000 what it took back then to build a well. So over a year.
Yeah.
You must pass.
Yeah, I thought it was like 5 years or something.
No, I would have started when I was 6, and I was fundraising for an organization to build a well. And then I was able to see that well a couple of years later when I was 9. And that kind of gave me a lot of motivation to keep on going. So I started fundraising even more. And then the foundation was created with the idea that let's get as much money and things directly to where it needs to go to drill wells, so it doesn't go to governments or anyone in between. So that was kind of the reason why we created the Ryan's Well Foundation. So it's been around for 20 years, and we've been able to do now over 1,400 water projects in 17 different countries, not just in Africa, but we've done a lot of work in Haiti, we've done work in India and Mexico and Guyana and Guatemala, and we've been able to bring over 1 million people clean water. So a little bit more than 1 mile now. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever, when you were doing all this project and stuff, when you were like older, did you ever feel demotivated?
Yeah, I think I felt unmotivated and discouraged quite a bit when I was a teenager, actually, because I think I was growing up, and you see how complicated the water problem was for me, and how, bad some of the things in the world were. And I think I got discouraged. I think the one thing that kept me going was the fact that it wasn't just my project or my passion anymore. I had shared it with my family, with my friends, with people in my community. So when I got down, there were other people to bring me up, which I think is important, because if you have a passion, you can keep it to yourself, and that's fine. But eventually you're going to get discouraged. You're going to run into roadblocks. You're going to run into challenges. And you need a community. You need people with you to help get you over those humps, because we all fall down. We all have challenges, and you got to have people around you to support you when that happens. So if you want your passion to last beyond yourself, you have to share it with as many people as you can, I think. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but how does it feel to help so many people and so many children?
Well, at the end of the day, I think when you talk about something like water, why I was originally drawn to it is because back when I was a kid, in like, let's say, I think my least favorite class was math. Yeah, I didn't like, I like it now, but I didn't like it back then. But I just thought about water and kids not being able to go to school. And if there was another kid my age who wanted to go to school and wanted to be in that math class and would have done a lot better than me, but they weren't allowed because they had to get clean water, it struck me as unfair. And it also struck me as, you know, we talk a lot about where I am. I'm from like a probably a little bit more of a conservative, like rural town where, you know, you have to provide for yourself. You have to do what you can. But if you don't have that opportunity, if you're in such extreme poverty where you can't go to school and you have to spend your day going and getting water for your family, then you can't go to math class. You can't build a future for yourself. And it seems like you're put so much in down that it's hard to recuperate. So I always thought of it as helping people help themselves. So that's something that, you know, something as simple as water goes a long way. So, and then everything else that that person then does is because of them, because they went to math class, because they, you know, were able to succeed. So I always look at it that way, as people are able to help themselves, and it's just a little bit of a help to get them there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but have you ever met any of the people you've helped? And if so, how have they reacted?
Well, I remember the very first time I went to Uganda for that very first well, there was a big celebration at the school. Everyone was so happy and over the moon because they had clean water at the school. The school enrollment actually went up from 700 to over 1,400 students. And there was a big celebration. Everyone was just so happy because they had clean water, and it gave me a lot of motivation to keep on going. I think the other thing about it was I was just kind of a representative. Like, it wasn't me who fundraised every dollar. It was, you know, classmates, friends, family, people from now all over the world. So I'm lucky I'm just able to be an ambassador for so many people who have pitched in to help bring clean water to people. Mm-hmm.
So basically, after you saw that celebration and everyone being so happy after what you did, that sped you up, and you started like actually like wanting to do it a lot more than before, right?
A little bit. I was definitely motivated. I was doing a little bit before, but that's kind of cemented in my mind how much it meant to people there. So I came back and there was a flurry of stuff. There was a documentary that came out about that trip. It was on different TV shows and radio shows. I was very enthusiastic. So I guess that kind of attitude is definitely infectious, and a lot of people started to pitch in. Yeah.
Yeah, but are you still like working on funding wells, or did you stop? Or
Yeah, so I volunteered for a long time when I was a kid, and then in high school, and then I went to university. And then I started working in university afterwards. I was a delivery truck driver, and then I worked in Canada for the city of Ottawa, getting people involved in politics, especially young people. And then I started working for Ryan's Well again. Well, not again. I started working for Ryan's Well for the first time, helping with the project work, actually managing the projects and planning where they're going to go and things like that. And that was about 5 years ago. And then I just took over as executive director. So like kind of like the head of the organization. So I took over 2 years ago. So I've only actually been working for Ryan's Well 5 years, and we're still doing water work all the time. This year we have 3 partners in Uganda, Northern Uganda, Western Uganda, and in Ghana. And we're trying to do a lot of work. So we're continuing right now we're drilling wells. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
so when you were 6, when you were around 6 is when you got the idea. So did you start your funds there and submit the money to a funds where they located the wells and they put the wells there, or did you start your own fund and then you collected the money?
No, that's a good question. So originally when I started when I was 6, I was fundraising for my school. And then it took me so long to fundraise the money that they said it would take enough that they wouldn't take the money anymore. So I brought it into an organization near the city where I'm near that did that kind of thing. They built wells all over the world. So I brought it into them, and then that's who I was fundraising for the next 3 years. And then we were able to meet a lot of connections when we went on that trip to Uganda, and other people who had been involved in international development who had a lot of experience and knowledge. And we kind of looked at it and we said, okay, why don't we make an organization to kind of harness this energy and work directly with on the ground local organizations. So how we do the work, it's always with a partner that's on the ground and making sure that as much money goes directly to them to do the actual work. And we've been able to get a lot of work done that way, make it more sustainable and everything. So it's a partnership. It can't just be someone in Canada or Panama or the States just facilitating it. You got to work together with local people, because a well, it's not something that just goes in and then it just lasts forever. You have to take care of it, fix it if it breaks, and that works best when you work with the local community.
Yeah, but around, like, how many people do you think you have helped get water easier?
Our last tally is we've helped over 1 million people so far over 20 years get access to clean water. So we're pretty proud of that, but at the same time, there's more to do. So we'll keep on working.
Yeah. So what was the biggest, like, challenge inside of the project?
I think the biggest challenge was just kind of people like my dad, like I was talking about earlier, that kind of just said, not in mean ways, but in nice ways, like to stop what you're doing, just because the world's a scary, complicated place. And I think it was just trying to grow with those people and not just say either those people are right or they're wrong, but say, oh, why do you think that? And engage so that you can maybe turn those people into allies, into people who are supporters. Because I think that's the hard thing to do, and that's one of the most important, is that there's a lot of people who care in the world, a lot of people that don't, but if you can try to zero in on the people that don't care and find out why, because maybe they have a good reason. Maybe they say, oh, well, I don't want to do water work because I think that, you know, it's going to be wasteful and it's not going to actually end up going towards the people that, you know, need it. It's going to get lost and it's not going to have an impact. So you have to be able to prove to that person, okay, it is going to get to where it needs to go and it is going to have an impact. Here are the reasons why. And you show the work that you've done in the past. You show what the plan is for the current money that you're fundraising. Like, you have to be able to step up and prove it. So I think the biggest challenge is turning those people into, you know, supporters.
So who helped you raise the funds? Like any major, like, company and stuff, any companies, small?
A lot of individuals, people, schools, churches, people from all around the world. Like, we still get donations, I think last year, from over 100 countries around the world who supported us, kind of thing. So we're lucky that a lot of people have shared the story and some people know about it. So, and they find us and we keep on doing what we're doing. So we just keep on doing it that way. It's hard. It's kind of unpredictable at the same time, but we've been able to keep it going for 20 years. So we'll keep on trying.
What do you plan on doing with the foundation in the future? Will you keep growing?
Yeah, I think we'll keep going for as long as we can. We've done some great work and we have more work left to do. So as long as we can fundraise and do what we can, we'll go as best we can. Yeah.
So what is your goal with the foundation?
I think my goal is still the same when I was a kid, is to clean water for the entire world. But for this year, we're just trying to meet all our projects, make sure that they're successful and that the people that are getting them get clean water. So a short-term goal and a long-term goal.
Have you written anything about your experience?
Have I written anything about my experience? My uncle, actually, he wrote a kid's book about, it's called Ryan and Jimmy and the well in Africa that brought them together. I had a pen pal who eventually became my brother, and it's kind of a crazy story, but my uncle wrote a kid's book about that, and then there's different magazines and stuff like that, but I haven't written anything yet. Maybe one day. Yeah.
Would be interesting to find the book.
Yeah. Hmm.
Is it possible to find it on Amazon?
Yeah, it's on Amazon, and there's a Spanish version as well, actually. Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, nice.
Mhm. Mhm. But my mom's always talking about writing a book, so maybe I'll help her with hers. She's a better writer than me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
How can you motivate other children in the world to join your cause? And what do you say to them?
It was tough. I guess one of the things that helped me the most is when I got up and tried to speak in front of other kids is that I was nervous. I wasn't exactly a great speaker, but I was passionate. You know, I cared a lot about what I was talking about, and that, you know, I wanted to make sure that kids our age could have clean water. And I think if you're able to do that, even if you are super nervous, I think people see that and they support you even more, kind of thing. So I think it was a mix of sympathy and at the same time, people who believed in me and thought we could make a big difference. So a lot of different things, you know.
How much have you how much time and money have you invested on funding on this foundation for wells all around the world?
Me? How much time have I invested?
Well, how much money has your fundings taken for the wells? Like,
Well, over the years, I think in total, at Ranswell Foundation, we've raised a little bit over $10 million. And then for time, like I've been volunteering and working since I was 6. So most of my life, yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
So we would like to know more about yourself.
About myself? What do you want to know?
How's your life now?
My life's good. I'm in Canada. I have a fiance. I like hiking and camping and stuff like that. I like a lot of sports. I like basketball and hockey are my 2 favorites. I'm still sad about my team losing in the NBA bubble that they had there. Just playing board games, things like that. I'm pretty normal.
We like hiking as well.
Nice. It must be
Yeah,
beautiful
it's
down there.
fun. We go on the roads, and like we don't bike on the roads, but we like.
No, hiking.
Oh yeah, hiking. Yeah, we like hiking.
Last year we went to Canada and we went hiking.
Oh wow! Where in Canada were you?
Everywhere. We're in.
No, not everywhere.
Not everywhere, but we're almost everywhere.
Canada's pretty big.
Ottawa, Toronto, Montreal, Quebec.
That's awesome. So if you know where Mississauga is, if you flew into the Toronto airport, that's where I am right now.
Uh-huh.
What is your favorite food?
My favorite food. My mom's Hungarian, actually, and she makes a really good goulash, which is kind of like a stew beef with like noodles. So that's, I think that's my favorite.
And what makes you happy?
What makes me happy? Reading a good book, helping people be able to have access to clean water. And I don't know, my dad always says, you know, if you can leave the world a little better than how you found it, then you lived a good life. So I usually try to live that kind of thing. So just trying to enjoy life and just leave it a little better than you found it.
What is your passion?
I'm sorry?
What is your passion?
My passion is probably clean water. I think I was lucky when I was 6, when my teacher was talking about it. It felt right, and it still feels right. So my passion is still clean water.
No.
And what is your dream?
My dream is still to bring everyone in the world clean water.
And if you could give an advice to children, what would you say?
If I could say what to children, what would I say?
If you could give advice to children.
My advice to children would be to think like kids. You don't have to be in a hurry to grow up, because when you grow up, sometimes you think differently. So when you're younger, if you find something you care about, do something about it, get involved, raise your hand. I think it's important to remember that while you're a kid, you need to act like a kid, especially when you find things that you care about. And then when you're a grown up, you need to think like a kid sometimes too. So it goes both ways.
Great. ¿La conclusion? ¿Quieres preguntar algo más?
So what do you do when you have free time? What do you do? What's your hobby?
Like I was saying, hiking, board games, some video games, reading lots of books, spending time with my fiance. She's going to school right now. She's in medical school here in Mississauga, so I try to help her study a little bit and help get food and stuff like that, and then spend time with family, you know, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm.
And what jobs what jobs have you had since you were a little kid? Has it just been fundraising, or have you another job?
Well, I always fundraise as a volunteer, but when I was in university, I did a few different things. I was a delivery truck driver. After I graduated, I got involved with an organization that tries to get young people involved in politics. So I was working with them. And then after that, I started working for Ryan's Well. So I guess those three main jobs. And I guess I also was a camp counselor. I coordinated a camp when I was going to university too for a couple of years. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you a lot for having this interview with us. We really enjoyed it, and we're really excited to have this interview.
You're welcome, and best of luck with your book, and good luck. Hopefully you have a few more hikes before it gets too cold. I don't know about in Panama, but it was snowing where I am today, so hopefully it goes all right. Yeah.
No, here.
Sadly, here we never get snow.
Ah, well, that's too bad. Just kidding. You're lucky.
But yeah, thank you a lot.
We'll keep you posted.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted with the book, and we really hope you stay safe. And we're very thankful that we had this interview. This is our first live interview. All the interviews we've had is just sending the questions by email and them responding to the questions by email. So this is our first one live.
How'd it go, you think?
Really good.
That's good. Sometimes live is always better. And then you have the recording, so if you forget anything I said, you can go back and you can look at it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Ryan, we really appreciate your help. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Well, you're welcome, and best of luck with the book, and so nice to talk to you. Sorry about the delay again, but thanks for staying around. Yeah.
Oh, don't worry.
No problem.
How can we help the foundation? How is it possible to donate?
Well, you can visit our website and you can just find out more about what we're doing, or you can make a donation, or if you mention the Ryan's Well Foundation exists in your book and that we're currently fundraising, then that's fine too. Whatever you like.
When we finish the book and if it sells, we are going to donate some percentage for your foundation.
Oh, well, that's very considerate and kind. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, have a good rest of your night, and it was nice talking to you.
Thank you.
Bye. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.